Welcome back, it's Chris from Hagon Factory. So this week's video, two-part video. So we've got the B31 BSA engine that Peter Stevens has put together, and we've got a quick look at some carbies that the old man got for the Triumph 500 GP. They look fantastic. Now, this video has all been done by Peter Stevens. He's done all the footage himself, and he gave Alan a bit of an interview because I'm away still working up in Darwin. They've done a great job, and without them we mightn't have even had a video this week. So it's a great video. Have a look.
Empty bottles and wasted time. I got nothing to show for all my wasted time. Except the trouble, worried mind.
Today I'm machining the valve guide that I made down to the right size to fit the head. I've been just using I used a file on it to start with, and that file is nice and wide and flat, and I'm chasing, I think, something less than half a thou, probably a quarter of a thou, which is ridiculous in my terms. I've never ever tried to machine anything or make anything to that tolerance, so it's all new to me. But same as using micrometers, I've not used a micrometer since I went to the tech, probably 60 something years ago. But anyway, we're getting there. I'm happy with my progress. I'll do a little bit more, and I'm going to leave it at that, and then it'll be a trip to the freezer for the valve guide. I've made a mandrel to put down the centre of it, so it'll act as a handle to keep it the temperature down on the guide. If I touch it with my hands, it'll probably elevate it. So I'll put the whole handle and I'll use it as a drift when it comes to actually fitting it into the head. So I think I might put the head on the barbie. We're having some steak for lunch, so it can sit up there with them. Cleaning up the hole in the time and case where the Maggie drive gear goes. There was a seal in there. Might be able to put a seal back in its place. It's just a bit of a tidy up. So I made up a stand for the 350 BSA engine, and I've gone about a little bit different, but anyway, I think it'll serve the purpose. I've utilised the bolts that went through probably the primary chain cover, so and it gives the ability for the crankshaft to come through that hole. Won't be able to get the sprockets and that on it, but it should work. I'm in the process of designing and fabricating a mount for the magneto, and so that's got to go in there, and it's got to sit. I'm going to sit it on an aluminium plate, lift it up a little bit to fit in there, and I'm also making a new nut to hold this gear on the end of the magneto with a reduced shank on it, so that the nut can fit inside the gear and have the head of the nut exposed so we can fit it up easy.
Okay, the Grand Prix Triumph that the Hagon Factory are working on. When we got the bike, there was a few bits missing, but one of the most important things that was missing was the original matched pair of Type 6 carbies that are fed by a single float bowl. I did look around and found the odd second-hand one here and there, and I found a couple that were a matching pair, but they were well worn. And anyway, I had a talk to John Parker, the Amal man in Melbourne, and he said they will make them in small batches, but you've got to wait till they get an order for X amount. And I said, oh, that sounds all right. So I'm not in a big rush. And he said, well, I'll put an order in for you. And I said, fine. So he did that. And I think it was probably about 8 months ago that I put the order in. And then a couple of nights ago, they showed up in the mail. 2 brand new Type 6 carbies manufactured by Amal in England to the exact specifications of what were on the Grand Prix Triumph.
Jeez.
With the correct noodles, slides and jets for that model bike.
All done.
So I was just over the moon, and really if you've got a couple of good carbies and a good magneto, you're off to a real good start with a bike, I always believe. A good big ends helps too. But anyway, I've bought them here to show you. And they're in a double size Amal box. When you get a single Amal carb, they come in a box half that size. So this is in a double box, and they're all wrapped up in Amal and SU and Zenith paper. I think the paper's probably worth something in itself. You could wallpaper your shed wall with that, it would look great. But anyway, here we have a brand new Type 6 carb. And in here, that's the left-hand one that is being filmed now. And this is the matching right-hand one, which I'll sit next to it, like so. As you can see, they are left and right hand. These mixture screws are on the outside and the idle screws, so you can get to those easily. But these are identical to what was on a Grand Prix Triumph in 1946, or 46 to 52, or whenever they made them. And in that time they only made a couple of hundred of them. So, but also you get a couple of little banjos and some gaskets and stuff, and a little instruction booklet, which is all pretty good. So as you can imagine, I'm quite excited about these, but the finish on these, I don't know whether the filming will do it justice, but the finish and the machining and everything on these is second to none. It's the main jet there, and it's where the little banjo goes on the bottom. These 2 carbs, when they're on the bike, they actually have a banjo on there and a double banjo on there, and they're linked together. And then they go into one float bowl, so they're fed off one float bowl on the left-hand side of the bike. How beautiful these work. They're just really nice brass slides, and the material they use in these carbs now is what they use in the premium range, what they call their premium range, which is a far better material than the old pots and pans aluminium they used to use back in the 40s and 50s and so on. Some of that old aluminium was that soft, you could just about take a bite out of it. But these are very well made, and the chrome and zinc finish and that on these is just, well, it's impeccable, really.
Superb, isn't it?
It's absolutely superb. You couldn't ask for better. So
I can see why you're excited, Al.
I am excited because this is the last
a culmination.
It's the last big piece of the puzzle that was missing. We've got pretty much everything else. The challenge is going to be a couple of wheels. I do have wheels, but they need restoring, and wheels, as you know, as anybody knows that restores motorbikes, wheels can be fairly expensive to restore. But they had a 20-inch rim on the front, which was it had a Dunlop alloy rim, a W-shaped one, like a mudcatcher rim. Well, they're very hard to get now, although people that restore Vincents seem to be able to get them because they're the same rim as on a Vincent. We will have a look around, but I think we'll probably go to a 19-inch, which will make well, it'll make tyre choice a lot easier. Cause
Did you say it was 20?
20-inch originally they were.
Yeah.
They do look good with a 20-inch rim in the front. They just look that little bit nicer. But we will have a look and see if we can find one. If we can't find one, we'll go for a 19-inch mudcatcher type rim. And we'll have a bit of tyre choice then.
And they would have been just like a rib tyre, wouldn't they?
Yeah, in the early days it would have been just like a ribbed tyre with a bit of a sort of a semi-block pattern on the back.
Yep.
That's sort of what they used. I think rib tyres went out of fashion probably at the end of the 70s, I think, or in the middle of the 70s. They tend to track a bit, if you know what I mean. They, you know, if you've come across a long, thin groove in the road, they tend to want to follow the groove in the road. Or if you're in Melbourne, probably follow the tram tracks, throw you over the handlebars.
Yeah, I don't think you're in Melbourne too much.
No. But, yeah, so we'd like to build a nice set of wheels for it. It's fitted with the original brakes, the big brakes and everything. It's got the nice big brakes and conical hub and so on.
Are they twin leading?
No. They're a
Single
big single leading
Yep.
brake, and apparently the brakes on them were quite good. Apparently they're okay for the.
So is that a wider lining then? Like
wider lining and bigger diameter.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they're quite a decent sort of brake.
Yep.
Compared to the road going models. They look the same, but they're just bigger.
Yep.
Yeah. And the rear wheel's got like a conical hub.
Oh, okay.
But it's got a sprung hub, that great big, terrible looking, fairly ugly sprung hub.
Yeah.
But I do have all that.
Hard soften under flame, and it's true you are my flame. True you are my flame.
And I've got the original rear set footrests and the rear set brake pedal and all of those bits and pieces there, all there. I've got the oil tank. The oil tank of my mate Will, who does all my welding and sheet metal work for me, he restored the oil tank to a very high standard. And I might get him to have a look at the petrol tank. The petrol tank's had a lot of cutting and shutting underneath.
Yep.
And it's a bit ugly underneath. Might just get him to have a bit of a look at that and see if we can do something with it. But it is the original tank, and they are different to a normal Triumph tank. They're bigger. They have internal baffles, and they are a different shape. They don't have any impressions in them for the knee pads. They did that just so they could get another half a litre of fuel into them. So yeah, that's where we're up to with that.
Righto, same as every other week. If you like what you see, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell everybody. Let's bring Hagon's back.